one. Welcome to the 15-Minute Patriot. I am Ross the Dude Maher from Rhode Island, and I am joined by my colleagues, Dave the Wild Man Wilder from Southeast Massachusetts, and Dave Side from the free state of Florida. We acknowledge there are many outlets and sites for you to collect your news from, but here at 15-Minute Patriot, we focus on what the news should prompt you to do. We focus on action steps. Knowledge is important, but citizenship requires action. So even if you will take 15 minutes a month, you will be pleasantly surprised to see what you can accomplish. We, the people, are at the top of our government, and it's time to get involved. Lastly, we want to hear from you and about the things that you've done. So you can email us at 15minutepatriot@gmail.com. That's 15minutepatriot@gmail.com, or on Facebook at 15-Minute Patriot. And also, we have a YouTube channel now, which is really awesome, especially as you can hear that loud motorcycle in the background. And with that, leading us off is my man, Dave.
Okay, we're doing something a little different, maybe prompted by Ross being on his back porch in Rhode Island, finally getting some nice weather. But the craziness happening in our country sometimes seems surreal. Usually we talk about the latest absurdities, but today we're going to be asking, how did we get here? Fortunately, we have access to a plethora of historical documents about the creation of our republic and its subsequent history. The foresight of the founders embedded in our Constitution and its careful construction is remarkable. They also knew that governments, any government, tends to grow its own power. We have seen this with the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, right? They all have conspired to build their own power at the expense of, guess who? We the people. Mostly with good intentions, but the end result is that the people have become the ruled and not the rulers as intended. For example, Hamilton, in the Federalist Paper number 78, laid out how the judiciary cannot be co-equal with the legislative branch or the executive branch, since they have no force or will. He goes on to state that the authority of the people is superior to any authority of Congress and the judiciary. Clearly not what we see in our headlines and leading news stories. We are again fortunate that the Constitution has a built-in correction process for the people to correct any government abuse. It is Article 5, which covers proposing and ratifying amendments. If our representatives actually represented us, they could propose amendments in Congress. However, if they fail to represent us faithfully, the states can gather in convention to propose amendments. This bypasses the powers of Washington altogether. And there's some fun stuff happening with Article 5. So let's get into it.
Well, I don't know if this is, kosher, but the Convention of States,
yes,
which is a group that has right now petitioned and has on board 19 of our 50 states, and I believe they need 34 states to enact a convention. And as you said, a convention is a place where the citizenry can gather together to enact some changes or amendments to the Constitution. Right now, they're trying to enact 3 term limits, prevent government overreach, and a budgetary concern, which I think, Dave Wild, you get better word than I. It has to do with budgeting, right?
Right, some kind of guide rails to keep federal spending in check. They've gone far outside what they are authorized to do constitutionally. And again, the convention is just proposing amendments.
Right. So if I can chime in, go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yep.
So one of the things that I was going to say is, for especially a younger generation, they understand the internet, right? Just as an example. So when you have an entity, whether it's a private business or not, who gets control, they take ownership over a particular phrase. I picked my nose at .com. I'm saying that as a joke, right? And hopefully you guys are laughing. But so what I want people to understand is that if you were to go to conventionofstates.com, what you're going to come across is a particular nationwide effort that is moving towards using Article 5, but for a very particular set of topics. What I'm trying to really get people to understand is that Article 5 is not, they're not attached the same way that you would normally think. Article 5 lays out the procedure for being able to make an amendment. So even the most cherished amendments that we think of today, Article 2, I'm sorry, Amendment
Article
number 2,
1.
Amendment number 1, all of the entire Bill of Rights,
Bill of Rights.
and
Exactly.
everything up until the 27th Amendment and everything in between has all been brought to our attention, if you will, by Article 5. So Article 5 is by and large a procedural article to be able to make amendments. But if you were to go to conventionofstates.com, what you would find is a particular body of people nationwide, of course, who are calling for an Article 5 convention of the states for these three specific topics. And there have been many, many other entities who have attempted to use Article 5 to bring about a certain type of a change of one kind or another. Balanced budgets has come up multiple times, especially in the last 20 to 30 years, as an example.
Florida, we have already signed on to participate in the Convention of States. How is it going in Massachusetts and Rhode Island?
So as far as Rhode Island is concerned, and again, we're talking about we're trying to exercise a process, which is what Article 5 is, versus a topic. So we have 19 states across the country. Actually, Texas has kind of gone through this process now a second time. So they had a sunset clause. And again, so you have three topics. You have the term limits, you have scaling back the overreach of the federal government, and you have fiscal restraint. So Texas, what they have done is they've moved that same language through their House and through the Senate. They have now passed a resolution that does not have a sunset clause. In Rhode Island, as an example, we've predominantly have moved into the House in order to do this. We have not, they always continue it, quote, continued for further study, which basically means we're not voting on it. We're going to consider it at a later time. And we have no action in the Senate. Now, Massachusetts, I would have to yield to the wild man for an update.
Just so people, if they're not aware, most of the time when a bill is presented, it has to go through some committees. And whatever committee it's assigned to, it has to get approved. And once it gets approved, it goes to the House or Senate for a vote. In Massachusetts, last session, we got through the committees in the House. It was jointly, but the Speaker of the House has to okay a vote on the floor. The Speaker of the House blocked it. So that's where we are in Massachusetts. And so we're trying again this year. I also want to say, we're talking about the Convention of States, which, has a lot of brain power behind it and has done things very cleverly and to forestall any kind of argument. Their resolutions that have passed in 19 states are exactly the same. They're worded exactly the same. Now, SCOTUS has judged that the resolutions, the applications for a convention need not be identical, but they do have to have the same message, the same intent. That being the case, there is another organization, FFSF, have claimed and have researched and documented that back in 1979 or so, there were 39 Convention of States applications for some kind of fiscal responsibility or BBA type of action. They are pursuing this as, hey, we only needed 34. We've got 39, and that includes a number of plenary resolutions. Those plenaries are basically saying, we want to have a convention of states to do this, and whatever the topic is, we're in. So if you count those with the fiscal responsibility applications, there's 39. So back in 1979, this should have happened. Congress never did it. So they're arguing, and I think it's a solid argument legally and constitutionally, that Congress has an obligation to announce this convention of states for this one topic of creating or proposing a fiscal responsibility amendment. And if they don't do this, this group is ready and willing and has the financial backing to sue Congress to make it happen.
So Dave,
But-
in terms of kind of moving this ball forward, let's assume for the moment that a lawsuit against Congress is the only option. Kind of like, where do we stand with that? I guess, like, what's the holdup?
Well, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, when he first sat in that seat, did mention that they had the wherewithal to move forward with a convention of states. He actually said that, and then it was like he said it. He said it very forcefully, and then it was never spoken of again. It's as if we had the not the initiative, but to move forward on it, and we didn't. We dropped the ball. That's what he said. So
Yep.
he's aware of it. Our speaker is aware of it.
So there's a couple of, to address your question, Ross. So states have to be the ones to file this legal action, and state action would be started by AGs, attorney generals. So there are a number of attorney generals waiting to do this, and I'm not sure what the trigger is, but it seems to be, waiting in the wings for something to happen. I think my personal view is, if somebody in an administrative role in Congress, let's say the House clerk or the Senate secretary, if they just acknowledge that those 39 applications have been received, that really is sufficient to satisfy the call, where Article 5 says Congress shall call. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And of course, there's other Article 5 groups. There's term limit groups. There's groups that are after election finance reform, all sorts of things. I think the important thing is support them, get on board, and show your support.
So again, I kind of want, for those that are listening, I want to kind of bring them almost full circle. The thing that I want you to understand is that Article 5 is a process, right? It's not attached to a particular topic. If you want to make an amendment to the Constitution, there is only one place for you to go to, and that is Article 5. That's where the founders address this issue. Beyond that, there are numerous topics that have been brought up over not only the decades, over the millennia, right? And so another place that I would draw your attention to, very, very simple website to navigate, almost for a young person, it looks archaic, but for a person like myself, it works out great. It's called the Article 5 Library. So it'd be Article V, Roman numeral 5. So Article V library.org. And there you can find almost 400 examples of the states trying to initiate this particular process. And it works like a database. You can sort it by subject. As an example, some type of fiscal restraints or budgetary reforms, or any number of things. And even Dave mentioned the word plenary. So plenary simply means, and I had to look this one up myself, plenary means we'll talk about anything, all the topics. You guys want to meet, we want to meet. Boom, done. We'll talk about anything. You can so you can navigate that website in such a way that my bottom line point is that you will have people like, there's an organization called Common Cause, as well as the ACLU, they oftentimes they twist the words, and you're talking about an apple, I'm talking about an orange. Well, and if nothing else, you're talking about a Granny Smith, and I'm talking about a McEwen. We're talking about two different apples of the same kind. And they try to blend these things together as a way to scare people away from thinking that the states are not allowed to or should not ever meet to be able to discuss mutual issues to fix our national problems. So there's that.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear mongering. The runaway. No one can control this. Blah blah blah. Unfortunately, we have a lot of history behind us. There are
We have a huge amount of history behind us, Dave.
There's over
Massive.
600 examples of conventions between states. How many of them have run away?
Zero.
Zero. How many of them have gone off topic?
None.
Zero. So it's, just think of any meeting that's happening. It could be your state legislature. It could be the House.
Yeah.
Every time a convention is started, what happens? Gee, what are the rules going to be? Who's going to be the president pro tem? We're going to set out the rules to do X.
Absolutely.
In addition to that,
you just hit one of the most important nails on the proverbial head, in something for Joe, the average listener, to understand. I would challenge Joe, wherever you are, whatever, because it really doesn't matter. Go down to the most local meeting you can, town council, city council, whatever, and you will observe that they follow, like, there's this strange flow of introducing topics, old business, new business. There seems like there are rules that they follow. I don't want to call it decorum, but there's like a tempo that they follow. Why? That is all actually written down in Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure. In every single legislative body throughout the entire country, town councils, township councils, city councils, state legislatures, everyone follows the same book of rules. So to say that somehow this entire thing is going to be derailed is absolutely absurd. Why? Because there's a rule book to follow. And everybody that meets, any legislative body, Dave, you're going through all this nonsense in the fine state of Florida, right? I'm calling it fine, not free, because of what I'm learning after all these conversations with you is there are people who want to be able to take control of other people and not follow the rules.
Right.
And all these things tie together.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Even those, I know we're running out of time, but I will say this. I am meeting with our state rep that is going to take place either the 5th or the 12th of June. He's going to pick one of those two dates. But I am one person, and I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to keep on fighting until at least they throw the last spade of dirt on me, and I'm done. But you know what? To that end, can an ordinary citizen directly amend the Constitution? Well, not directly, but citizens cannot, because they cannot institute a constitutional amendment on their own, like some states that allow for ballot initiatives. However, they can petition and lobby their legislators, just like you just said, at the state and federal levels, organize movements, get part of movements to push for a constitutional convention, vote for representatives who support such specific amendments. That's what we, the people, can do, and so God bless you. But you know what, folks? Don't throw your shoe at the TV. Get involved.
Get involved.
All right. Okay. Thanks, gentlemen. And until next time, God bless.
Stay safe, boys.
15 minutes is all it takes.
That's it.
Make it happen.